Okay, so take two, because the last time my mic wasn't working. This is a basic rundown of what you should be doing, what you should be looking for, and the basics of running through the VOD. So, before we even get started and clicking that play button, we should understand one of two things. One, how is this map played? How should it be played? What are the key points? Yeah, just stuff like that. So, the key points on King's Row are hotel, because of this rotation, and high ground. Those are the two key points. Obviously, the point itself, but those are the two key points that if you can keep control of and abuse, you will just destroy any team. That's why most teams, that run Orisa control high ground, because it's very hard to get down. You have to change your composition or play a different sort of style to get them to drop and contest point. So then you want to look at the team compositions. So team compositions that the two we have here. So Danye swaps Pharah here, I'm pretty sure. But the team composition we have is all about playing slow, all about poking, all about getting advantages through picks. And the team composition that August has is all about baiting people in and getting like that explosive damage onto Reinhardt and just really bully him. The Junkrat has high spam damage, Hanzo has high spam damage, Zarya has when she's full charge, and obviously like Reinhardt itself, fire strikes, swinging, shit like that. And obviously Zen. So they have a lot of shield pressure here. So they should necessarily win Shield War, uh, but we're not about like taking really long, extensive fights. Uh, we're all about setting up our Widowmaker, all about setting up the sightlines, all about abusing the sightlines, and then pressuring around that. So the way that you have to understand now your team's win condition and the enemy team's win condition. So the enemy team's win condition is all about playing and baiting you, and obviously breaking shield. The breaking shield comes first. Always keep correct pressure on the shield so that you're winning the shield war, take space, and then punish off that. But the second win condition, if they come up against a team that doesn't necessarily give that, is all about baiting them into a spot and then creating like a flank. So if they control hotel, which they probably do with a Junkrat, and we don't have necessarily anything to contest it at the moment because this is a Pharah. Let's just play it so we don't get any. This is a, this is another thing. This is another thing. Danye made a very smart pick here. So he was on our standard double sniper setup, but as soon as he heard that Junkrat and Hanzo was a thing, he swapped. He swapped because Pharah has no contestation. Like, yes, you can say that Zen and Hanzo are soft counters. It all depends on the mechanical skill of those two. But there isn't like a hard counter like McCree, like Soldier, like Widow. Those sort of counters. So he made a smart pick. Why play it? Why play a losing war when I can just destroy them elsewhere? Because if he goes the standard Hanzo, we won't win Shield War, and we won't get a chance to play around picks itself because they'll always just be constantly engaging on specific points. The only benefit it gives us from Hanzo is that we can control hotel easier. But again, a well set up Widowmaker, like a Widowmaker setting up here, and watching like this cross, or watching back cross if we're pressuring hard, or Widowmaker on the high ground just completely shuts that down. Uh, so yeah, understand the map, understand the win conditions of the comps, and go from there. So an ideal situation for blue team is baiting them into this spot here. So we'll do a play-by-play of how this should happen. So pink team will walk in, they'll get to this spot. Front line will start pressuring forward, and then Junkrat. Oh wait, I've done this wrong. Blue colors. So we walk in here. Blue starts walking forward once we get to that spot, and then Junkrat will push behind. So they have a double prong, so that Junkrat can instantly blow up one of the people in the back line, or launch the Reinhardt forward, stuff like that. Many things can happen. So how do you play around that? So the composition that we have really doesn't allow that. The only thing it does allow is them having control of hotel, because we don't want a ferret inside hotel. We don't want Widow inside hotel unless she's like free and she has this sightline. So we want to stay away from the hotel side. Like this part of the map is off limits for us, right? We don't want to be in there because not only does us being in there hurt us, it hurts the players that we have. Hurts our Pharah because she can't be in there. It hurts our Widow because she can't benefit in there. So stay out of there. So this is a no-no zone for us, right? This is a no-no zone for us. So how do we play around that now? High ground. High ground is free, and also this passage. This passage is safer for us because once we get into that spot, our squishies can hide in this spot. Our squishies can hide over this spot, out of spam range. So that's another thing you should look at. What are your strengths? What are the enemy team's strengths? And their strength is spam. What is your weakness of your backline? Randomly getting headshot by a Hanzo arrow, or your team shield going down and then getting spammed out. It's all about setup. So the ideal scenario for blue team is, red team, sorry, is that we play slow. We set up our Widowmaker and then we pressure hard based off that. Create space for her, create space for our Pharah, and then our tanks will take most of that. So, red team, let's use red for this. Red team should play slow here. Push in slowly. Widowmaker should go around the back or even grapple up on the high ground if she really wants to. Because there's no immediate danger if she does grapple. The only thing is that if she randomly gets like body shot at this moment, should wait until tanks have like some sort of pressure. So we're pushing this side. Now, Zen can do one of two things. Zen can stay behind and wait in the choke, or our Widowmaker can. It really depends on how they play. So, tanks will walk in. Widowmaker stays in main and waits. Waits to see how they react to this pressure. Because if they push up, our Widowmaker should stay in that position and make sure that none of the backline can do anything. No flank should happen. We should win this tank war because our Pharah should be free because she has this whole cover from hotel side. No one can necessarily peek her from like the Hanzo Zen point of view because Widow has them locked down. So again, playing around the win condition, playing slow, playing to the enemy team's weakness. They don't have hard engage, they don't have Lucio. They don't have long range, they don't have a Widow. They only have Hanzo, and that's unreliable from a long range perspective because it's very hard to judge the new Hanzo's like drop off. I mean, from my perspective, it could be different from like a Hanzo one trick, or but Casper isn't necessarily a Hanzo one trick. He's more Widow focused. Yeah, let's go from there. So that's the ideal scenario for the red team, setting up Widowmaker here or on the high ground, depending on where the enemy team pushes and how they react. Let's see how they play this out.
Okay, game plan is, remember, the same as against Giganti. Push up, right side set.
Okay, so we're spamming Zarya uses bubble, not cold. That's one thing. Zarya's, it is very, very important that as a team, call cooldowns. It does not matter what cooldown it is. Obviously, it depends. Oh, you're not going to say, oh, Mercy GA down, like, because it's up in like an instant. Major cooldowns. Zarya bubble is a major cooldown. Reinhardt shield, major cooldown. Bash on Bridget, a major cooldown. Like all these things that are major game team fight winning calls. Because say for example you're in goats, right, and you call Zarya doesn't have self bubble. Go on. Should you go on that Reinhardt that can be bubbled, or would you go on that Zarya that just used her own cooldown and she's vulnerable? I know exactly which one I would go on. Let's continue. Okay. So we're pushing this side. Very smart. So we do not as they haven't noticed it, like from a comms point of view, but they know that they can't control this. They know that they have Junkrat. They know that we don't have anything that really benefits from being in that room. So we take this route because it doesn't stop, but it hurts their flank route, and it also hurts the plan that they want. They don't want us to take long sightlines with this comp. They want us to play close around this area. Like they want us to play around this area, which we don't give that to them, which is good. Let's continue. So the two tanks push forward. Now, Naga makes a very smart. I'm not too sure. Again, like I'm not too sure if he thinks about this or it's just that he was preoccupied with something else. So he takes this main position. Now, what this does is if he walks a little bit further forward, he has sightline here, right? So that basically means that Mercy's useless, Junkrat is useless. And these two tanks are basically screwed unless we fuck up some way. Or Hanzo gets a lucky headshot on something. So, Pharah is constantly spamming him in the back if they retreat. Our tanks are constantly fucking them in the head because they have cover. And the only cover that they have is this little room. They can't fall back, they can't push forward. Mercy can't help them, Junkrat can't help them. Hanzo and Zen. So our Widowmaker is basically watching this flank, and she's also watching the cross. This is very good. And also the positioning from Danya is very good. The only problem is, we do not have that Mercy healing our tanks either. We only have Zen. But we have cover and the tanks do not. So we should win this war straight up. That they shouldn't be allowed to get out of this position free. We have a very good setup right now.
Pushing them, pushing them.
Okay, Ryan gets out. That's unlucky. That's unlucky. But again, they use Zarya bubble. Should push off that. Zarya is very out of position. She should use her bubble here, otherwise she should die. This Zarya should die unless she bubbles.
Zarya is in front.
Okay, she bubbles. Never mind.
I'm on Ryan.
So, now, looking at this. Hipster's flanking. 1. Latex is moving out of position away from his team. This is 2. Our Widowmaker should already be on the high ground. This is a play adaptation. Why is our Widowmaker playing behind shield? I understand that shield advantage, but Orion isn't even standing in the same sideline as her. So she should be automatically taking that high ground, taking that pressure that our team has given her, and controlling this high ground. No one is safe if the Widow is uncontested. They don't have anything to necessarily hard counter it, quotation marks. So she should be free if she knows the setup that she should be doing. At this point, she doesn't. So, Green Lord rotates back just to keep an eye on because he sees that mine come across and he's like, ah, Junkrat is trying to flank. Let me just have a little quick peek because I can win this 1v1 up close. Which is good. This is really good for Marine Lord to rotate back, just give it a quick check. Because at this point, Discord, the only real Discord is obviously Ryan. But we're not in a position to really expose that other than Danye. So, we'll go from there. So, this Ryan should die on point. They get a free raise because you don't have enough pressure. This Ryan should have died. This raise shouldn't have happened. We needed to push off that. Like, we stay too long behind this taxi. We don't create enough pressure. We do not punish. We have Pharah constantly above this Ryan, but we do not have the finisher. Naga should be on the high ground, 24/7 now. We have point pressure. He should not be behind Ryan. Like, what is he shooting at right now? He's shooting at fucking shield. Like, either stand in main and watch this cross, and obviously you're watching the flank at the same time, or be on the high ground to watch over the shield, or around the shield. Like, I don't understand this from Naga, but we'll carry on.
I use bubble, careful, Jobs. Yeah, okay. Focus Ryan shield,
Focus Ryan shield is a call. Ryan is dead. This is huge. Zarya uses bubble here too. So Naga rotates back to main. Is that Naga? Yeah, that's Naga. Naga rotates back to main towards his hotel. They are fishing a battle right now. They should lose this fight straight up. Okay, we're spamming down. Really nice, really nice. Now it's important to not overextend and not go by yourself. So Naga should be staying here, be calling their own hotel, and then Zarya and Ryan should be pushing them together with Mercy Beam. Pharah should not go in there. Marine Lord should not go in there. Naga shouldn't even think about going in there. So we used bubble and we didn't push in, and then our Ryan just like, fuck it, I'm going in, boys. We have damage boost on him. This is good. And Danye is spamming on an off angle. Not too sure why Naga rotated away from that because he could have caught them on the back end. But I guess he still has sightline here, so it's okay, I guess. Okay. So, I mean, we're just cleaning them up. Simple. This is clean. Now it's all about keeping our Pharah above the choke, making sure they can't recontest a free, making sure that Orion has constant information about if they're pushing in, so because we can use this as a pin angle because they don't have anything to punish that if we Zarya bubble. Pharah always above the choke to punish anything and also build ult charge.
I'm summoning grab. Okay, I'm taking position.
Okay. So that's all I'm gonna do for now because I have company and I don't think it's gonna be quiet enough to do it. But like, quick recap, like before you even think about doing the VOD, understand the map, understand the win conditions of your composition, how to play the map and the key points, how to expose those key points, and how should you approach playing against certain comps. As I said about this comp, it's all about playing close to them and not giving them the opportunity to engage or set flanks off or pressure our shield. To take routes or play a composition like you could have easily, I think we could have easily swapped out Zarya for D.Va, and it would have been a little bit beneficial for us for our sustain on shield and a little bit of our pressure. But the thing you sacrifice is that your Ryan is not really safe in the Ryan v Ryan battle because D.Va doesn't really contribute that much. When he goes for like these pins, swings, you can't negate that damage. So I'm not saying change composition if it doesn't work, because there are always ways that you can play it, but obviously think of the composition. Does this comp actually work? Like Goats, for example, you don't want to run double flanker into it, because what's the point? You're putting yourself at a handicap, because both of those heroes, Genji and Tracer, both suffer against Bridget. They do not have the damage, they don't want to be in a fight for long durations, so just think of it that way when you do VOD reviews. I'll see what the feedback is on this, and then I'll go from there about advancing it and how I go about individually critiquing every player and how I critique the enemy team at the same time, so that I can compare how they should be playing, how we should be playing, and how we should be punishing those things.